Internet, it's Aaron, your personal driver, and today I'm going to talk to you about how Arianna Huffington saved Uber. Mystro! Okay. For those of you who don't know, Travis Kalanick, boom, he's out as CEO. Is he gonna come back? I don't know, I don't care, because here's the thing. There's a tip option on Uber and several other changes. So, I'll talk about those changes a little bit more specifically at the end of this video, but right now I need to talk to you about the journey that got us there, and it all starts with Arianna Huffington. So those who've been following my channel for a while, you know I've been absolutely critical of some of the dumb fucking things Uber's done this year. And it's not just me, but all the headlines have been negative for Uber. And the big problem was Travis Kalanick was running Uber like it was some new cute little startup company, and it's not. It's a $70 billion international company. All of his friends and cronies were running that company into the ground, and they had no idea what they were doing. For those of you who don't know, most of Uber's money comes from investment, meaning it's private citizens giving Uber like large amounts of money because they want return on investment. Very little of their money they actually make from ride-hailing services, right? And actually, I've seen different studies that say only 40 cents of every mile driven is from the actual customers, and 60 cents for every mile driven is supplemented by individuals investing in Uber. When you start making that kind of money and you start taking money from this kind of rich people, you better perform. People want return on their investment. And if you don't perform, you better bet your ass that those private investors are gonna come in and they're gonna fuck with you. That's exactly what happened. Arianna Huffington invested a lot of money in Uber, and all of a sudden they found out that this company was like sexist, and they were having cocaine parties, and they were going to Korea and getting hookers, and all this bad news came out. And Arianna Huffington was like, whoa, my name is on Uber now, I look like an idiot. Also, and probably more importantly to Arianna Huffington, my money's invested in Uber and I want a return on investment. And once you start getting all this bad press, and once Lyft starts gaining market share, and Lyft starts beating you to every conceivable goal, all these investors get mad. They don't want Lyft to be the first company, the best company, the #1 company in the country. They want Uber to be. So the investors started getting really upset. And then you know what happened? And this is honestly, I think, what honestly made investors get so pissed off that they wanted to oust Travis. Google sued Uber because they stole technology from Google. I did a little video on this earlier. I'll try to post something here when I'm editing this. And when that happened, that's it. Travis is done. I knew as soon as they did it, because here's the thing. Lyft is now ahead of Uber when getting to autonomous cars. Because remember, both Uber and Lyft don't really care about their drivers. I mean, Lyft is better to their drivers than Uber was until now. I'll get to that later. But it's always been temporary, because in 3 to 5 years, autonomous cars are going to replace all of us, okay? And that's just the way it's going to be. Like, my kids will never drive a car. Your kids will never drive a car, unless you're older and your kids are older. But if your kids are under 10, they'll never drive a car. They won't even be able to buy a car they can drive anymore, because we're just going to go to autonomous cars in the next 5 to 10 years. That's just the way it is. The technology is already here. It's just about implementation. And Lyft has now contracted with Chevy to get all electric cars that are driverless out on the road. And because this judge issued an injunction against Uber, they can't make driverless cars. They have to stop because that technology is stolen. And once they did that, Uber became #2 to Lyft, who is still #1 in the rideshare world for making autonomous cars autonomous taxis basically hit the market out there, hit the United States market. So Lyft will be rolling out its autonomous fleet before Uber because of the mismanagement of Travis and the rest of the Uber board. So investors are not happy. And yeah, they fired people for sexual harassment. But honestly, look at people at Fox, man. Fox News. They had tons of allegations of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct. But they didn't fire their board, right? Like, their owner stepped down and then died a month later, but they just paid out because they were still making profit. Investors didn't run away from Fox News, so they just kept going with it. Like, they didn't fire Travis and all these people because of sexual harassment. That was just the easiest scapegoat for them to get rid of him. They fired him because Uber was getting run into the ground and investors weren't getting their money, and they were never going to be able to go public. They were never going to make a profit. And now that there's no autonomous cars, they're never going to go autonomous. That's why Travis and those 25 people got fired. Because Eric Holder and Arianna Huffington looked at everything, right? They investigated everything. And what they did is they found out excuses to get rid of people who were in the way. Sexual harassment was the excuse, but that wasn't the reason. And honestly, I don't care if it was just an excuse, because I think if you sexually harass somebody, you should just get fired. Period. End of story. No more discussion. But that's not the world we live in today. If you lose money for your investors or investors stop giving you money, that's why you get fired. And that's what happened. So I'll put in a link in the description below the 47 changes that Arianna Huffington and the board unanimously altogether agreed upon and they will implement going forward. And some of them are absolutely mind-boggling. Like they're gonna implement mandatory HR training. And I went, what? There's not mandatory HR training in Uber? Like, what the fuck were they thinking? This is a $70 billion international company and their employees got no HR training? Let me just back up and say, for those of you who haven't worked in the corporate world, like my third job, my first job was KFC Taco Bell when I was in high school. Then I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then I worked at a company called Starwood, which is a hotel chain. I was like a server in the restaurant there when I was in high school and a little bit after high school before I joined the Army. And I got HR training before my first day starting the job. Like sexual harassment, the way you treat employees and the way you treat customers was my first day on the training job. Like this is how we treat people in this company. And that's how it is, not just at Starwood, but all across the Fortune 500 companies, because they don't want lawsuits. They don't want to get fired because their employees are sexually harassing each other. And they don't want to get fired because people are sexually harassing customers. And it's not just sexual harassment. It's like, don't be racist. It's how you deal with a problem. If there's a disgruntled customer, what do you do? But the employees at Uber got zero HR training. That's how bad Travis wasn't running a company. Like, that's mind-boggling. But anyway, there's a lot of executive changes. For example, the board is going to be more independent now. So it's not going to be like a top-down sort of thing as like, I'm the CEO, I'm going to run things. When Travis comes back, he's going to have a different job, if they even let him back, which I don't think they will. They're going to delegate a lot of different things. They're going to look for a new COO or CEO or whatever it is they call them these days. And honestly, I think Arianna Huffington might become the new CEO of Uber, at least temporarily, because one, she's competent, and two, she's one of those like power hungry kind of people. Like she's a titan of industry, and whether, I know she's controversial, so some people hate her, some people love her because she's like super liberal and her website is considered a very liberal website, but like she's without a doubt influential and good at her job. Like you can't say she's not good at making money because she's done phenomenal, not just with her Huffington Post stuff, but with all the stuff she's done. She's been phenomenal. And they're gonna start a diversity program because one of the biggest problems at Uber is it's all male and it's all white, and that's only one perspective. And all of you people out there who are gonna talk about how Uber is run by social justice warriors and how I'm a social justice warrior and that being a social justice warrior is bad in general and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I got it. You're a little bit jealous that diversity is going on right now, but it's not just Uber. All Fortune 500 companies are now trying to implement different points of view at every level from the board on down. And the reason for that is, in the United States, all different kinds of people spend money. Women spend money, minorities spend money, white people spend money, guys spend money, transgendered people spend money. And money is the only thing that talks in this country. So without diversity at every level of your company, the voices of those particular kinds of neighborhoods and those particular kinds of ethnicity groups and genders are not gonna be heard. And when you don't get heard, what happens is things like sexual harassment happen because not enough women are there, not enough women are empowered. So anyway, Arianna Huffington comes in and just cleans house. Her and Eric Holder fired 25 people. A lot of them were on the board, and that's like they're gonna hire a whole new team. And the first thing they announce is that they're gonna add a tipping option. What have I been complaining about since January or February, excuse me, when I started this channel? Uber doesn't have a tipping option. And the only way you can make a profit in this industry is through tipping. It's just like a server. It's just like a bartender. Okay? Yeah, you make an hourly wage as a bartender. Yeah, you make an hourly wage as a server, but sometimes it's as little as $2 an hour. You don't make money on the 9-to-5 grind of those jobs. Okay? You make money in tips, and it's the same thing here because you have to pay for gas, you have to pay for maintenance on your car. That's why I've always said Lyft is better than Uber. Forget about how they treat you. I don't care how they treat me. I care about my bottom line. And until now, Uber didn't have a tip option, which meant that was money out your pocket you weren't getting. So less than a month after Travis gets fired, you guys get a tip option. Now, I have it here in Seattle. It's going to roll out over the next 180 days because they need to write the software. They need to bug check the software. So they picked 3 cities. Seattle's one of them. And I'm telling you right now, that's because we have a union here, or we're trying to get a union here. So Uber is really nervous. So one of the ways they're going to quell people trying to get a union is to give us a tip option here. So if you want a tip option in your city, organize and they'll be there faster. I guarantee you that. But that's a side note. So here in Seattle, we're going to get a tip option, and they're implementing a bunch of other changes too. Like now you get paid at the 2-minute mark. So if a customer waits 5 minutes to get out, you're at least going to get paid from that 2 to 5 minute mark. You're no longer going to sit there not making any money. And I know a lot of you only make 10 cents a minute, and so that doesn't suck, but that 30 cents is still better than nothing. And in markets like mine where it's 25 cents a minute, well, that's 75 cents. That's getting like to a little bit better of a point. The other thing they're going to do is if a customer cancels on you after 2 minutes, you still get a cancellation fee. So you get compensated for that, because there's nothing worse than turning around, heading for a PAX to pick them up, and then you're canceled on, and you've wasted all that mileage. So you'll be compensated for that too. There are a lot of other changes, and I'll put them in the description, but you have to ask yourself, why do we have these changes? It's 2 reasons, really. One is because Arianna Huffington came in and put her giant dick on the table and said it's bigger than all of your little sad dicks that you have here. Look at these things. This is how we're going to run shit now. All y'all are fired. This is how we're doing it from day one. And now that Travis's influence is out, we're going to have to retain some drivers because we keep losing our best drivers to Lyft. Uber was losing driver after driver to Lyft because you make more money doing Lyft than you do Uber. If you compare apples to apples, the Lyft apple's bigger. And Arianna Huffington is smart and she knows that. And so the board is now implementing a tip option because they want to retain drivers. They want to get them back, okay? So all of this comes down to 1, Travis is an incompetent CEO. 2, he ran Uber into the ground. 3, Arianna Huffington knows how to run a business. 4, she has bigger balls than everyone else at Uber. And 5, now she saved Uber and we all have a tipping option and other great incentives going forward. But don't forget to keep your eye on the prize, which is a job in 5 years from now, because you can't do Uber then. They're gonna be autonomous. But anyway, guys, deuces! Hey guys, I hope you liked that video. If you did, go ahead and hit like, thumbs up, and go ahead and leave a comment and subscribe. You hit this button here. There are also going to be 2 videos here and here if you'd like to watch some more. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon that you have on your YouTube so you can get updates when I leave them. Thanks guys, bye.